Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Simply Sketchy. Today, I've brought with me Dave from the cool YouTube channel Total Blackout Painting, a good friend of mine and a fellow fan of different monster movies. Do introduce yourself,
Indeed.
buddy?
Hello, I'm Dave.
Hi,
Total
Dave.
Blackout Painting.
Yeah. What kind of painting do you do?
I do spray painting mostly. I do stencil art and spray painting.
Yeah.
I have not this week because my grandchildren were in town visiting, and so um, I say my grandchildren were in town. My daughter and my son-in-law were here too, and
Yeah.
and I love both of them dearly as well. But my grandchildren were here, which is really
Yes.
that's the main event.
You're being a
So
good grandpa.
so I tried. Um, but yeah, so usually I make a stencil. I try to design a new stencil once a week or twice a week, and come up with some new pieces on the weekend. So I used to originally do just puked out tons of content because I was doing planets and space and stuff like that, which is still fun to do, but it's not very challenging. And so it's neat, but I've done 400 of those paintings.
Yeah. They're still pretty
And
fucking
so
cool, though.
yeah, they're cool. And honestly, and I mean every time I make one, it's like, wow, this turned out really cool. Like for one of the space paintings, Um because it's hard to make them look bad. As long as you pick good colors that turn out okay.
Yeah.
Um because it's more of a process thing, right? Like there's a process you follow. Of course, it's like a lot of art. There's a process you follow, except for in the spray paint, like for making space stuff, it's a little bit more regimented. Like you
Yeah.
just follow like 4 or 5 simple rules, everything will turn out just fine.
Pretty much. Like there are
And
certain similarities with sketching too. You just do whatever
yeah,
feels right, and then you get along to it. It's why I like to do again Simply Sketchy because I just go with the flow essentially.
hmm
So as
yeah.
you,
So that's been
yeah,
that's been the primary focus of my channel lately. And then I did some monster movie things. Well, I did some Hellraiser things.
yeah,
Um, And then my latest things, I think I did a little Angel Boy, and then I did the Shadow Wizard Money Gang,
we love
which
casting spells.
I really love casting spells.
I love that meme.
It was, my son had been asking me for so long to make it, and I tried a long time ago to make like a bigger stencil, and it was going to be it was going to be a multi-part stencil, but I was just not good enough lining up my stuff yet.
Mm.
So it didn't work out. Plus, I think my iteration of it instead of the original one, it looks dope as hell. So
Yeah, I haven't had the
I'll
time to
stand by
check it
it.
out yet, but I'll give it a look see.
I I think you've probably seen the pictures posted on the in the art channel somewhere.
Yeah, the
But
picture's pretty fucking swell.
and then we took that picture. Shadow Master took that picture and put made a faction for his game
Mm.
based on it, and we did a stream talking about that. That was last Wednesday, I think is when we did that.
Cool.
No, was it Wednesday or Friday? It may have been Friday.
Mm.
But yeah, so I got to stream with Shade, which I've never actually talked to him before. I don't think, like in like one-on-one.
He's an interesting
And so
fellow.
yeah, he seems like a good guy. Um, yeah,
So
it was we had a good stream. I think we had a good conversation too,
yeah,
talking about family shit too. So,
with the right
but
subject, he can become a really good sparring partner vocally.
yeah, yeah, I could see that. So, I mean, I've seen him on other streams and stuff too, and I saw him. I mean, he was on Sultans before, so
Yeah.
Um, but anyhow, so that's me talking about myself. So, um, yeah. Anyhow, so that leads to the monster movies.
Yes, the subject of
Is it?
today's video is one of our most favorite monster movies. At least one of my favorite monster movies of all time. If you can probably guess from here, it is The Thing by John Carpenter from 1982.
Yeah. I I think I will classify it as one of the best horror movies of all time.
It is.
Honestly, um, I really it's been I haven't seen it in a couple of years, which I'm probably due to see it. I'll download it at work.
Yeah.
Uh, I'll download it on my phone today while I'm at work and then watch it later.
Good.
But it's a really good film, and it's really like I think it's one of those movies that kind of encapsulates a lot of like the totality of John Carpenter's talent is really displayed in this movie. You know, because it's got really compelling storytelling. It's a really interesting, like, good story. The movie is hyper engaging. You're super into the movie,
Yeah.
right? And it had like cutting edge special effects, like brilliant special effects for the time.
I dare say it's the best form of practical effects in movie history.
Yeah.
They hired,
Yeah.
you know that armless doctor, or the dude who gets his arms bit off? Yes, we will spoil this movie now because it's from 1982, and even if you spoil
Yeah.
it, it's still gonna be fucking awesome to watch, dude. I'm just saying. But
Yeah.
that dude is actually a armless dude in real life. He
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
have arms, and they just like, okay, can you like, we'll have your prosthetics removed here, and you can just scream like you lost your arms. Sure, buddy.
Yeah. They do he was just a really good. See, even if you know the story, like, I think even if you know the story, it's a really good movie because it's so interesting.
Yeah.
There's so much cool shit in it. And you know, kind of knowing the story sometimes is like, you know what's going to happen. You can kind of, I don't know, when you know what's going to happen with the monster at some point, you get to watch what the other people are doing.
Yes.
Right, you're not just so focused on the tension of the scene, and so you can really you can absorb the nuances of the film much better.
One of the best parts about it is how the realization, when they start learning what the thing truly is, the realization of what it's capable of doing, and how everybody just starts distrusting each other. That is just glorious.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good psychological take, and I think, it's believable. Like, that's the really, I think that's really what's missing from a lot of the modern cinema, is that the characters are written in a believable way. The way these people act is pretty believable and fairly reasonable. Like, sometimes, you know, of course, in some horror movies and even in some John Carpenter movies, people act a little stupid. But I think in The Thing, they did a really good job of keeping people like
Yeah, I mean,
everybody keeping them on edge where you would be.
Yeah, the thing is, you do stupid shit when you're scared, but it's not like the typical, stupid blonde walks alone in the woods when there's clearly a monster outside, right?
Right.
It didn't do that. It's a bunch of people locked in what is essentially a frozen hellscape, and suddenly realizing there are monsters in these woods.
Right. Well, you're effectively on a different planet, right? Like, there's no way, if you're in the middle of fucking Antarctica and shit goes south, like, there's those guys down there now. If something went south for them, what are they gonna? It's not like they can fucking walk to the next town and get help.
Yeah, and
right. It's not like they can do. They're effectively on another planet. They're so isolated.
Yep. It's
it's
actually more isolated than being on an oil rig, actually.
Yeah. Oh, I believe it. Yeah. Just out in the middle of the fucking ocean. Yep. That's another one of those things. Like, that's always kind of terrifying to me to think, is like the boats that get stuck, or like anybody that gets stuck on a life raft in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, that's like, a specific kind of fear.
Yeah, yeah. Like you are, you're. It's like an infinity, right? There's
Yep.
no. It's effectively infinite around you for as much as it matters to you, for all you can do about it.
Exactly. And
So,
the thing where
but
you're lost in the void, and knowing that, and the worst part about being lost in the void is knowing that there's something out there that is so much bigger than you, because without fire, and even hell, even with fire, humanity doesn't stand much of a chance against the thing.
no. Well, I mean, you don't. Well, that and I, so I was just thinking, I'm grateful they didn't do a bunch of sequels and try. If this happened in modern day, if this movie had come out today, there would be 5 other sequels around it. There would be a complete demystification of the whole thing. We would know exactly what planet the thing came from, or when it
Yes.
evolved, or why it was there.
You mean how
What they've done with all the xenomorphs, with all the alien
yeah.
shit. What they've done with every other like good movie monster.
Yeah, people is
You know.
again, when you make something blockbustery, that's when you start removing the art from the piece of it. And the
Yeah.
thing is art. It is cinematic art, a masterpiece without compare.
See, I think that John Carpenter, I mean, he was an artist. And when I was younger, I didn't quite, because I was dumb and I didn't quite appreciate all his movies as much as I do now, But and I look back and I'm like, man, he made so many fucking movies, and he made so many great movies too, right? Like, and they're ones that you don't even think about. Like I didn't think about Starman, right?
Hmm.
Which you may not have seen that, but I watched it a bunch when I was a kid. My mom was really into it. It was Jeff Bridges as as an alien that comes to Earth and basically learns love from someone.
Oh, that's cute.
And then of course, Escape from L.A. That's great. Escape from New York, Escape from L.A. Great fucking movies.
I haven't seen that one, but it's on my list.
And They Live.
Oh yeah,
Like,
that's a classic.
yeah, They Live.
It
Big Trouble in Little China. Fucking great ass movie.
The thing is, what annoys me is that this movie should have gotten the recognition it deserves. I mean, yeah, it should have been along with one of the greats, but unfortunately, E.T. ruined it. Because everyone's
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, cute aliens, happy aliens, and then you turn over here, it's like, abomination that would make hell itself look pleasant in comparison.
Well, I mean, you think it's kind of the broad appeal of it, though, too. Is that, because E.T. was a family movie.
Yes.
Right, and so that's the one that got in the theaters. Now, if you look on IMDb for 1982, The Thing, it beats E.T. in terms of rankings on there. So, or in terms of popularity, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
But as
and
we know,
then, like
popularity
Fast
and
Times at
ranking.
Ridgemont High,
Yep.
it goes Fast Times. They have it listed as Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Blade Runner, The Thing, and then E.T. But then also Conan and Poltergeist,
God, Conan is awesome.
the Dark Crystal,
I love the Dark Crystal too. Jimi Hendrix.
Zapped, which you may not think, but that was a great movie for me when I was a kid. I loved that movie. I thought it was hilarious.
Zapped?
Yeah. Tron came out in 1982. 48 hours. Star Trek 2. Holy shit. I'm just going through this list of movies that were released in 1982. And I'm seeing how many amazing movies are on here.
Yeah.
Creepshow, Tootsie,
And you know what the
Secret of Nim.
No, you know what the thing is about it? Every single movie you mentioned there is original.
Night Shift, The Wall, Pink Floyd, The Wall was released in 1982. The Beastmaster, The Swamp Thing.
And
There's just so many great movies. And this is just like, oh my lord.
it was
We haven't had this many good movies released in the United States, or I guess in period. We haven't had that many good movies released in the last decade. Like we will not have that many movies come out of this time in history.
I mean,
That people
let's
will
point it
back
out.
on and say like, oh,
I'm gonna point
that's
out
classic
this.
cinema.
I'm gonna point this out.
Yeah.
You've managed to fuck up Transformers.
Oh yeah.
Which shouldn't even be possible. It is the simplest fucking solution of them all. Just bring the classics, have Optimus Prime and Megatron fight an epic battle, robots turn into cars and fucking warfare vehicles. That's all you need, and they managed to fuck that up.
No, yeah, they had to shit that up. I blame Michael Bay for that. I think I hate Michael Bay for that. So.
Oh yeah,
but it's like,
let's go back to
I don't know if you saw the video.
Days. Let's go back.
Oh, yeah, okay. So, anyhow, oh, the other thing about The Thing is like, yeah, it had a fucking amazing cast too. We had
Keith David as Childs.
Yeah, Keith David and Kurt Russell. And here's the other thing: it had Wilford Brimley in it, and we were talking about that at work the other day about what a tragedy it is that, because Wilford Brimley was in a lot of great movies, right? Like he was in The Thing, he was in Cocoon, he was in a lot of movies. And
who was Wilford Brimley again?
He's the diabetes guy.
Oh. Diabetes guy?
Yeah, he's the diabetes meme.
Diabetes? That guy?
Yeah, he's that guy.
Oh shit! Wait, who? What was his character in the movie? Shit, I don't remember.
He was the old guy, Blair, the biologist guy.
Oh wait, the guy who started hacking shit up.
Yeah.
Dude, I didn't fucking recognize that. Holy shit!
I know. So, it's so funny because he was in so many great movies and he was such a good actor, but everybody only knows him as, oh, he's the diabetes guy.
I mean, he didn't have the mustache when he did it.
He did on a lot of them.
Well, not on a lot of them. Thing though.
He did have a smaller one. He always had that mustache for a long time. It was a smaller one, but not like the big covering his mouth. Like he didn't have the big same. He didn't have the same one as he did when he was older.
Yeah, he didn't have the Beatus mustache.
Yeah, but he was, he was a good movie. He was a good actor.
Yeah.
He was a dude that if he was your grandpa, right, you'd be like, oh, grandpa, every time you saw him, and he'd give you a hug. You could just see he looked like the friendly grandpa guy.
Yeah.
He'd be like the kind of grandpa that would be super disappointed when he found out you had an OnlyFans.
Yes.
Kind of.
This is not good for my diabetes.
So, but he was a really good actor. And then of course Keith David, Kurt Russell.
Damn.
They pulled it off really well.
Yeah, and the best part is just, if there's one thing The Thing has, it is atmosphere. It is so fucking heavy with atmosphere, dude.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, and the way that they did, of course, one of the iconic scenes with the blood.
Yes. Oh.
Like that was so well done.
And the head
and the special effects on it were cool.
I don't think there's a single monster there that isn't just disturbing from the beginning.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite?
And they put. I don't know. I couldn't say. I had a specifically favorite one. Because the just concept of the monster itself is probably my favorite thing.
One of my favorites are the ones that the one appears after the blood test.
That's the one where the fucking head splits open, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And that's such a it's hard for me to explain, of course, how much more I appreciate those practical effects and like how well done and original and smart those practical effects are.
Yes.
And and
And
like
it's not
it's
just that, but the actors that do them too.
oh yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, it's like the crappy CGI that we get out of most movies today. Like those people are standing on the shoulders of giants and they don't even know it.
Yeah, it's
And I think that's
the
why we have so
CGI
much crap.
today. The CGI today is nothing compared to like 10 years ago.
No, it's garbage.
It
Yeah,
is.
a lot of it they diversity hired all the quality out of
Oh,
everything,
God
dude.
damn.
But yeah, that's not what we're here to talk about.
Nope.
Specifically, anyways.
Hmm.
Um, but I would like to, I mean, I do would like to comment more on the state of um the state of the special effects in the modern movie industry for sure.
Oh yeah.
In comparison to this, like, and in comparison to how I mean, just looking at this list now that I pulled it up for the movies from 1982, which just blows my mind. It blows my mind how many amazing movies are on this list, right? Like, and movies that not everybody loved, but they were undeniably awesome.
Yeah, they were all good in their own way. I mean, there's
Like
a
First
reason.
Blood, like First Blood is a classic.
Yeah, there's a reason why it was the age of cult movies.
Yep.
Because every movie found someone who loved it because every movie was made with effort. And they
Right.
tried every single time. There was no cash grab movies, there was no bullshit. Even those who were made with a little bit of a cash grab intention still managed to have enough care about them that okay, it's gonna be we're gonna get money for this, but fuck it, I'm still gonna do my mediocre best, which still is better than
Right.
today's standards best.
Well, and I think that the transition from like that late 70s, or early 80s period was a good time in like practical effects, especially because that's when they were starting to get more technology to do better practical effects, right? And so um, instead of the horror movies, because prior to that, a lot of the horror movies, the monster movies, focused on the people, a lot on the people, and didn't show monsters hardly at all. And if they did, the monsters were crappy and cheesy, which is why the old 50s monster movies are like 90% people running scared and shit like that, and like 10% of the monster.
Yeah.
Because, and they really worked on that kind of show, or not, they worked more on the tell side of it instead of the show, not tell. But it was a matter of special effects, right? But in the 80s and towards that, you started getting the ability to make do bigger things,
And it's
right?
also that, but you
Like
have
Jaws was
experience and innovation, like proper
yeah,
innovation.
yeah, and like by this point, these guys had been making like brilliant original films for like 10, 15, 20 years, right? And so like Poltergeist came out in 1982. That was for me as a kid, that was a terrifying fucking movie. It
Yes.
scared the shit out of me
I
because we
didn't
had
even
big
watch
trees
it
all
when
around my house.
yeah, I was a kid when I first tried to watch it at night, and I'm like, yeah, I'd never watched it again because when I was a kid, it
Yeah,
scared me too much, and I'm like, no.
yeah, but it was like, I mean, it was good. It was a good movie, and it had people like interesting characters shoved into it because they put that little weird lady into it. Um, and it didn't feel like forced diversity bullshit. It wasn't like, oh, we got Magic Black Lady in here all of a sudden, you know?
Yeah, but that's because that shit wasn't even it was it was trying to claw its way in, but back then people literally went for competency and just the wow factor, interest. The movies back then was made more as a sense of who the director's personality was, you know?
Oh yeah, definitely.
You could it was back then it's similar to how games in the early 2000s, every game could be like you heard the developer and you already knew that this would be a good game, right? Just like the movies.
Right.
Because everything they made back then, before the modern era, it was made by them, and they had gotten known by, it's sort of like their signature.
Right, right, right. You know, I remember when that started to break down. And I will say that thing where there was like where it started to break down about like the Rockstar game developer thing, was the around American McGee. Because that Alice series, everybody thought like, oh, he's a really good developer and he did all this stuff and he's gonna make this Alice game and it's gonna be so awesome, and he puts out like one of the most mid games ever.
Alice in
And
Wonderland.
the American McGee's Alice, and I only tried it once long ago, so I don't, but I know that like I remember reading all the reviews on it, and like because everybody was really hyped up for it because he was a good developer, and I'm trying to remember what he was fucking involved in before that. So here he is, American video game designer. Oh yeah, he was on Doom. He worked on Doom.
And he still managed to fuck up.
Let's see.
But yeah, I think we're tracing a bit off here, so we should.
Yeah, we're off topic. So yeah, anyhow, it was kind of along the lines of, or it was kind of in the vein of the of like this movie. They're not making good movies.
Yeah,
and they're not making good monster
the
movies.
common
Definitely not.
frustration between you and me here is when we look at this, it keep reminding us of the fact that we don't get shit like this anymore. So I get it.
Yeah.
I get it's hard to not go on a fucking tangent on. Like,
Right.
Oh god, we should do an art stream just talking about this shit, because that.
Oh yeah.
That way we can just get our frustrations out, but we need to. Let's try to stay on topic. Says the guy who never gets.
All
on
right.
topic.
Right. So I'll move back to the John Carpenter
Yes.
thing. So he, like, when I didn't appreciate his vision. I didn't appreciate like how hard he put when I was a kid, and it was because I, of course, was like, 1982. I was friggin' 5 years old. So scary movies were not something I really got to watch a lot of, and so I didn't get to appreciate this until I was much older.
Yeah.
Like, get to watch it a few times to get the nuance of like, man, that scene is really awesome.
Yeah.
Where the like, I keep going back to the blood scene because it's one of my favorite
Yeah,
things.
but it is iconic for a reason, because
Right.
it is the part where, for the entire movie, everyone is being isolated, separated. They keep to themselves. They don't want to chat to anyone. I mean, they're already sick of each other because of the job they do, right?
Right.
And then this comes along, and they definitely don't want to hang with anyone. But there's also human need to stay together, but they know it's dangerous, so they start sticking to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
As weird shit is just more and more and more, and it hits a fan where everybody now has to be confronted, and it is the only time when the people in the movie takes or try to take control of the situation, and you get the feeling that we're about to get an answer, at least very soon.
Right.
And of course, you get the answer, and of course the monster immediately reacts, because the thing is honestly one of the greatest spies and infiltrators in all of fiction.
Yeah, it's like a gene stealer from 40K.
No, it's even worse.
Yeah.
It's even worse because I still don't know. I still don't know if the person infected still is alive until it is uncovered, because the creature, the supercell that is the thing, is it has this cellular intelligence, essentially.
Right.
So it knows when its game is run, right? It knows when it's caught, and that's when it transforms. But until then, it copies the people it pretends to be. But here's the thing, and this is what makes the thing scary. If you have been infected by the thing, and it uses you as a puppet, are you already dead? Or do you live until it is revealed that you are a thing? Just
Well,
everything you do is still like take the guy who got infected in the end, who he was really hard to find the thing, and then when things were starting to add up that he was one, he started acting more and more rational until he was confronted and transformed himself. The thing
right.
is, as I feel here, and this is what makes the thing so much more scarier, actually terrifying to me,
Hmm.
you are still you, but it uses you like a mask until it can't, and that's when you die. Suddenly you walk around, you have some quirks now, you do some things you can't really explain and you don't think about, and then you get confronted, and as soon as the realization happens, and even you don't even have maybe don't even have the time to realize it yourself, your light switch is shut off and your brain is just removed. You as an individual die when the jig's up.
See, now I look at it a little differently than that, because I think that um, that you don't actually get to be you. You're not actually you. You aren't you, right? That's the semblance. That's part of the thing. Is that that's part of the trap? Is that it's pretending, it's mimicking to be that person. So much so that it makes them think like, oh yeah, well I'm still myself, but they're not, right? And the thing actually knows that it's not, but it's trying to give that impression,
Yeah,
right?
but
Because that impression engenders sympathy, right? And engenders people that are like, oh my God, well, he can be infected. There's got to be a way to help him. And so while all these people are trying to help this guy, he's actually just going to kill them anyways. Right.
yes.
And it was always planning to kill them.
Oh,
And there
yeah,
was
yeah.
never any variation
The
from that.
thing doesn't have any shred of benevolence in it. There's no
Yeah.
chance for it. But what I'm thinking
Yeah. So,
is,
but
the person who is infected becomes a mask that can be removed at any point in time. But you
yeah.
are still you until the thing is found out, because it is pretty, at least for me,
See,
it's pretty obvious to me when I watch a movie that the thing,
yeah.
its intelligence is, it's what it is, the one in charge, but it looks through your eyes and makes the judgments based upon the situation. And
Yeah.
when
See, but I
it
don't think that
realizes,
it's a separate. I don't think it's a separate entity.
it is,
Right.
it takes over your brain and the intelligence of the brain, and it is merged with you, but instead of you being the personality and brain, it sort of takes over the inside of your brain and still lets your personality think you're you, which is how it becomes so effective at the tricking people.
Yeah. See, I don't. I don't. I think that I don't know if that's how. I don't know if that's my take on it necessarily. That it
No,
does that though.
it's kind
I
of,
think that
it's
that's
maybe my
kind
way
of
of
it's.
describing it badly. Like,
Yeah. No. Oh no. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I think that once the thing has taken somebody, that they absolutely have no free will at all
oh
at
no,
that
I'm not
point.
saying they have
And so at
free.
that point, they're not them. Yeah. No, you're not yourself after that. They're
No,
not
no,
themselves.
you don't have free will, but the disguise is so good that the guy who's been infected doesn't know that he's dead yet.
Yeah. No.
There's
Yeah. I get
nothing
what you're
left of the
saying.
guy when they're taken. However,
Oh right.
the thing keeps you as a mask, and it holds the it while you're dead. It still essentially it's a form of living on death,
Yeah.
and that is the scary thing, because it only uses you as a mask until it doesn't need you. Then it shuts off that little part of the brain which still contains you, and you just poof like a flame, and then it uses your body to kill everything around you.
Yeah.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah.
And well, and the other thing that
Hmm?
like is that it absorbs. It absorbs that person. It absorbs their memories.
Yes.
It absorbs. They become part of it in a different way than like the blob. Like it does kind of seem like the blob in a sense that like it just swallow you whole, right? It
Yes.
just takes you over, you become biomass, you know.
Yeah.
But this is a far more uh a far
Insidious.
more insidious intent,
Yeah. This
right?
is the
Like
blob if the blob was sentient.
Like the blob just feels like an amoral, destructive force that is not like it's just hungry,
Yeah, it's
right?
just
This thing is
pure hunger, and
predatory.
yeah, it's consumption
Yeah,
at it's
yeah,
the most basic form of life in existence. The Thing and the Blob, they have similarities, but the Thing is superior in that its genealogy is superior,
yeah.
practically undefeatable, and it is sentient. Many people say it's too instinctual, but I think it's actually uh
No,
the
I think
perfect
it's
organism.
sentient.
Yeah, it is
Yeah,
sentient, but it's because of the way it's set up, it's evolved. Its sentience is in part of its instincts. It's how
well,
it
and
just immediately, when it knows the game's up, that's when it turns into these horrible things to just not only just be a more effective killer, but its shapes are more designed to scare people, you know?
right, right. Well, and that's the I guess, Christ, I thought I lost what I was thinking of.
Sorry.
Um, no, no, not your fault. Oh no, that's the difference of it's more of the intentionality, right? Like it's not hunting incidentally. It's actually seeking out people. But also, okay, I remember what I was going to say now. In order for a life form, in order for something to hunt people, it would have to be in this manner. It would have to be pretty smart,
Yes.
you know, because like it's not like it's incidentally manipulating people into tight quarters by themselves or hiding, or that requires a level of intentionality that is not that
Yeah.
can't be accomplished instinctually.
No.
So
I mean, the
so
thing
that's my
might have
argument
been.
for sentience, and I'll stand on that.
Yeah, and I fucking agree with it. It's too capable. Like, I imagine the protoform of the Thing might
Hmm.
have been very much more instinctual and non-sentient, but as it started devouring things, devouring life, it would start to add that to itself. But
Yeah.
it's not adding to themselves in a way where other things affect it in any way. The Thing is still the Thing. Its biological setup is superior in that it cannot be affected by other things.
Well, it adapts, right? So
Exactly.
that's one of the things is it absorbs and adapts.
Yeah,
So
but every
if it went
adaptation
up
will
against something,
every adaptation
well, I mean,
has
if,
the same
uh,
perfect control over its organic mass.
well, right, right, yeah. That's what I'm saying. If it was having, actually, I saw a video about. I can't remember the channel, but I saw a video about like, was it the Thing versus xenomorphs? Like, and they used the backdrop was a planet or a ship that was infested with xenomorphs crashed onto a planet where the Thing existed.
Oh
Right.
boy.
And so the xenomorph hive is starting to go, um, and so the Thing, encroaches and gets into a fight, gets attacked, gets a cut by the xenomorph, gets acid blood on him, and has to run away. Well, but during that conflict, the Thing collects DNA from the xenomorph or collects material from the xenomorph, and through that learns how they act. It gains immunity to their acid blood because it now has acid blood too. It can, so it's basically like an evolved form of them.
it's
So
not it's
it
not
can prey
just
on them and they can't really do anything about it because
it's
it
not
can just
just that,
infiltrate
but
and take over their hive.
yeah,
Well,
but
that's what happened in the video.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's what happened.
I
Yeah,
get it,
yeah.
but the Thing was
So,
nerfed in that one because again, you can't beat this thing unless you annihilate it. But here's the
oh
scary
yeah,
thing:
that's because it
touching
got
you.
it got hurt and came back,
Yeah,
and it evolved and adapted and it came back and it did the Bear Grylls.
pretty much. But the thing is, again, the virus, the microorganism is the Thing,
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
the fucking scariest thing about it, it you are infected by it just touching you. That is how effective it is. And it immediately, almost immediately has you. It devours all the cells in your body and then turns into a perfect copy so fast that the host doesn't even notice it.
and And in light of that, like the backdrop, like really that really puts a fine point on the backdrop of the Arctic or the Antarctic, wherever. That puts a fine point on what a good idea for a backdrop that is,
Yes.
because of the implications, right? Like, oh, we've got this. Is it an alien life form? Like, without anything being explained, you look at that and you think, is it an alien life form, or is it something that came from our planet and got trapped in the ice? And if it got trapped in the ice, did somebody trap it there, or did it trap itself there? And if someone trapped it there, who were they and how did they do it?
What
And
I
and
like
so it
about
just
it,
leads.
yeah. Go ahead. Go
I
ahead.
mean, yeah. So it just has a really, like, just that backdrop, that backdrop there adds so much depth to the story, without even really trying.
It does, and it's
Right.
also the only place this creature could be contained.
Right.
Right? It's anywhere else on Earth. This thing would be out and about and consuming humanity immediately.
Right.
But in the
Well,
Arctic, it's already
and you.
proven with the creature that they found, the first mutation that was frozen.
Mm-hmm.
That thing, it was naked as it ran out, and then it got frozen over after it
Right.
got burned. But it is the Arctic is the only place that can contain it.
Right. Well, yeah, because you couldn't put it on like an island in the middle of the ocean,
It would just
because
swim
it's
out.
just get a bird or a fish or something, you know. And that goes back to where, like being in the middle of the Arctic or the Antarctic or anything like that is effectively being on another planet. It's like so isolated. You're effectively on another planet, which is a really, like, I don't know. That's an interesting concept to me too.
Yeah. Though I think I remember something. There was a Thing video game before, right?
Oh man, I
No.
may have just blocked that out.
Yeah, it was a Thing video game, which apparently was pretty decent. It was held back by its own time, but from what I've heard, they're gonna make a remake, just a proper remake of it, just nothing else, just the game.
Yeah.
With higher graphics.
Oh, man, I would want to be excited for something like that, but I just have
Modern day, my friend.
Yes, dude. I just have I'm modern day fatigue.
Yes. Like, the only games I play nowadays are just of the modern variety. It's Elden Ring and Armored Core, and
Oh yeah.
Zelda. That's it. I don't do modern games anymore. I'm not excited.
Did you pick up Did you pick up the DLC yet?
I picked it up and I've installed it, but due to circumstances, I haven't had time to play it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a commission which I had to finish yesterday, so I didn't have time to finish it up to start playing up Steam. I've been on fucking baptisms and stuff with family, then I've been helping out with their stuff, doing errands. It's been one thing after another. Jesus.
Right.
And when I'm
Life
done,
gets busy.
and when I'm done, I just can't be fucked, or it's too late in the day to just set myself into it. So, if I'm lucky, I'll be able to do some gaming on Sunday.
I think that's close to where I'm at too.
Yeah.
I need to pick it up. I have to. I haven't bought it yet.
Yeah.
I was holding off on buying it until, because his grandkids are in town.
Dude,
I was holding off on buying it until after that.
When you're done with Elden Ring, I would fucking love to talk some about it with you. I have another friend who probably would be interested in doing Elden Ring videos too, but like speaking about the different characters, bosses, or monsters, that'd be really cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'd be down for that.
Hell yeah. But
I've been watching my boys play it now. So yeah, there's just they just put some of the coolest stuff in.
Yeah, like
their artists are friggin' artists.
That's why
undeniably.
That's why the pure Japanese are the only ones you can actually lean on.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one thing I wanted to say actually, and do you know what the Thing is? One of it technically can be considered to be. modern
tell me.
eldritch horror.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it is.
Well, and John Carpenter was really good at kind of capturing that otherworldly horror feeling.
Yes, which is
right.
the crux. It is the cornerstone of eldritch horror, and it's not a. It is fucking Lovecraftian in that it just makes sane people, due to fear and terror, do insane things, desperate things in order to try to stem a tide they don't even really know that they're a part of. Like, that doctor is still one of the characters I have most sympathy for, because he was a thing when he tried to sabotage things, and I'm pretty sure he believed he was doing the right thing, while he also were building shit that it's so cool how it just makes you do things while you try to do something else, and then shuts off you and takes you over completely. Uses your intelligence, your everything, but you, the person, was no longer necessary because the mask is no longer necessary. So, poof, there you go.
Yeah. And, well, I mean, and I think John Carpenter does a really good job of capturing that, like, because part of that, I think part of the big feeling of the otherworldly, like, eldritch horror is the utter feeling of helplessness you have in the face of it.
Oh yeah.
Right, like you're just hopeless to do anything because it's so powerful and otherworldly that you couldn't hope to do anything against it.
Yeah.
Right? It's just, and so, like, the idea of the thing, like what are you gonna do against that?
Just burn
but
it.
then
And
he
hope
does
that's
that.
Enough.
He does that in other ways through his other movies too. Like They Live. It really does do a great job of encapsulating that. I mean, it's specifically an otherworldly horror because it's aliens from another planet. It's not an eldritch horror per se, but it's an otherworldly horror, and the way that it's presented in that movie is that it's hopeless to fight against it. They've already got everything.
Yeah.
Right. And although they do fight against it at the end, it's not entirely clear if it made a difference.
Yeah.
Or if it helped.
Or if people will try because the messages are just there.
Right.
It is.
Right.
The masses are actually fucking stupid, let's be honest. And
right.
And if the thing actually got into the human world, into a city, it would be over for humanity. We would be done within 2 days. Humanity would no longer exist, and we'd just be things.
Yeah.
But the question is, would it be everybody turn into these Cronenbergian monstrosities? Or would it just start taking a different shape? Because that's something that always fascinated me. What would it do if it succeeded?
Right, that is a good question. Because the idea is that it maintains human shape to prey on humans, right? It's not like it's just chilling out in a human form because it likes to be human. Right? It's going to probably, I would say at that point, it would just revert to its natural state. Right? But at that point, like...
What is its natural state?
I guess here's another question, though, too. Because at that point, it's just going to wipe out all life on Earth. Like, all life on Earth will become part of this hive bee.
Yes.
Like, not just sentient life. It will be every animal, insect, bird, every single creature on the planet will become a part of this thing.
Imagine if the thing got a hold of ants, dude.
So then would everything just revert into this, like, would the whole planet be covered in this, like, giant placental blob of thing guts or thingness until something else came along, or until the planet just died out?
One thing that the thing is focused on surviving beyond anything.
Right.
I think that, as we already saw in the movie, it started building spaceships. It has the knowledge of that which is consumed before. A single cell can contain everything.
Right.
Right? Again.
Yeah.
It is the superior fucking biological organism. I mean, humanity first, let's fucking go, but...
Right.
You gotta admit when something is just better. That's why you use nukes, by the way. Anyway.
Yeah.
It's the... I believe that after it consumed humanity, it would have just built spaceships and gone out and spread out like a plague.
Yeah,
Essentially.
I can see that. Well, if that, I mean, it had the knowledge to get here.
No, it
So
didn't get
I
here.
think,
It actually
or
it was taken in a ship because from what I
it was
remember,
sent here.
it wasn't sent here. From what I
No.
remember, the spaceship that crashes in
Oh,
the beginning.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh,
That was
yeah.
a
Yeah.
different race
That's
of
right.
beings, and they
Right.
apparently went around and collected things for. I don't think it was a zoo, but sort of like they were doing their own version of Star Trek, you know? To
Yeah.
research,
Yeah.
to experience the universe. Then they picked up
That's
the
right.
thing out of its natural habitat, which contained it, which of course allowed it. Imagine how bad its world would be for this thing to be evolved. And the creature broke containment, devoured these aliens. They managed to crash the ship into the Arctic before it took over, knocking it out, causing it to hibernate. And then it was just I think that the aliens purposefully crashed it in the Arctic to stop it. Because if the thing actually took the spaceship over, it would have just gone out. It would have been a plague of fire. It would have been like the Black Plague, the Spanish flu, and leprosies in one.
Right. I was gonna make a different joke, but we'll keep it safe for YouTube.
Oh shit. Right.
But yeah, no, you're right. So, but it would be like, and that's kind of interesting. That's kind of what the Tyranids are in 40K, right? Like they're just the intergalactic, interstellar plague of locusts,
but
right?
Here's the best part. The thing is even better than them. I mean, it is like the Flood, but far more effective.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's basically gonna overcome and predate on anything that that it comes across.
To kill you in order to take you over.
I think if the thing encountered the Tyranid swarm, it would then become the Thing swarm.
Yep, basically.
You know what I'm saying? Like
you can be as advanced or as adaptable as you fucking can be, but the thing just outdoes you. Again, a person is taken over and turned into a skin mask upon contact within seconds, so subtly and so quickly that he doesn't even notice it.
At the genetic level, that's the thing too. Is it's at the genetic level. So I don't know. I'm really curious. That's an interesting thought of whether it would try to escape the planet with the knowledge that it has, or whether it would, because then at that point, would it become like an effective, like it's a hive mind organism then, right? At that point, it kind of just becomes a warlike society instead of just being a hive being. Because, we don't think of ants, even though ants are effectively like a single organism, right? An ant colony is like a single organism.
It's actual communism in a way. The only creature made for it.
Yeah. Well, it's and if any human had to live in the same conditions, they would fucking hate it.
Yep.
Because it's a shitty situation. But anyhow, so if the thing took over humanity, let's say, and then started to expand out into the galaxy, then I think it would just then become like a warlike species.
Yes.
Right?
Again, it wouldn't be a warlike species. It would
and
be
then
a natural
orcs.
disaster that can think.
Right, but then they're orcs.
No,
well, so at that point, that other people, but at some point, the other civilizations who would encounter it would start to have to use countermeasures or start to do. I think at some point, there's civilizations that it encountered would become savvy to it. Like they would become knowing to the ways of the of the Thingite universe or the Thingite species. So
I actually believe that if this thing broke out and got into the galaxy, every species would it would no longer be a open, like imagine a open galaxy, a Star Wars galaxy. The entire galaxy would just be a survival horror.
Right.
Everybody would live in
Well,
fear and live in secret because this thing would become the Fermi paradox
right.
and
Well, and you couldn't
devour
go to any
everything.
planet. You couldn't go to any planet with life on it.
Nope.
Right, because that life would be infected.
Most likely infected.
You know, is likely infected. You would just basically have to treat everything as it's infected. It's basically, so what this thing is doing is coming in and shitting up your neighborhood.
Yep.
It makes you so you have to lock your fucking doors at night and make sure you have your car windows rolled up and your doors locked when you go to bed.
Yeah.
Because that's what they're
Nobody
doing.
would
Because
trust
that's what that would
anyone.
yeah, that's what that would lead to, is in other species, like in global, like wider galactic society, presuming there is one. Everybody would develop countermeasures to dealing with this species.
Yeah.
Eventually, right?
I'm also pretty sure that it would start utilizing itself as a weapon. It would pretty much be the Tyranid swarm, but with mechanic. Instead of hive ships, it would have mechanical ships. But it would, pretty certain, it would launch itself, pieces of itself, into enemy ships. And
Right.
as soon as that piece would hit the ship, they would have to destroy the ship because it would be already lost. As soon as a fragment
Right.
is in, you would
Right.
have to. You would have to take some draconian fucking measures just to be certain, because everyone on that ship would be like, yeah, no, we're fine, and suddenly you think you're safe, you defeat the thing ship, and then they do.
Right. Well, you have a mechanical ship up until the point where it finds a species that doesn't need mechanical ships to travel through space.
Yeah.
Right.
But I think
and then all of a sudden you got hive fleets.
I still think it would keep to the mechanical ships because it,
Yeah.
again, above all, the thing needs to survive. It wants to keep its biomass in, hold as much of its biomass as possible.
That's true. That's true. But when there's a great supply of biomass, then I think that, I guess it depends on how great the supply of biomass
and also
is, because
depends
that
on
really
how its
depends
mind
on how.
goes.
Right. Because at some point, like, if it has access to just so much biomass, like, I mean, realistically, if it took over all of humanity or every living planet, every living being on a planet, that's enough biomass to create a fucking a swarm fleet.
Yeah.
Right. And it might be easier to do it that way than to absorb the species and mechanically go through and have them build the ships. Because if you can just kind of grow them, that's a lot easier than building them.
I would agree if it weren't for the
less...
fact that the dude made a flying saucer in an Arctic research base.
Well, yeah, no, that's true. That's true. But I'm just saying, at the point where it has basically unlimited access to mass,
yeah,
then it's effectively, or access to such large amounts of mass, then it would be more effective to have a biomass fleet
I think
than it would to have a mechanical one.
I think the solution would actually be a cybernetic solution. Imagine
Yeah.
a metal
think you're probably right.
skeleton with engines and shit, but all of it is just covered in cybernetic biomass that just is there to fill the spaces and make it essentially into the most terrifying war machine in history.
Right. Some fucking horrifying.
Oh
like,
god, that shit, like the Cybermen from hell.
What the hell is the goddamn Event Horizon?
Yes.
The Event Horizon stuff, like gore and viscera smeared all over the machines.
Oh, dude.
That would actually be fucking rad.
Or you know the USP Ishimura from Dead Space? It would I'm pretty sure it would be pretty much like that. You know how the corruption just creeps around the ship, taking it over gradually?
You know what, dude? That might be something to draw. Is a spaceship covered in gore and viscera like that?
Yeah. I think we need to whenever we find a different.
We need to do another stream again where.
Hell yeah. Dude,
I got to do some like another crossover collab stream.
Yeah, we're doing we know what to do in a collab. We're doing fucking spaceship post fucking thingification.
Oh, that would be
hell. Okay, I like that. I like that. Scary, but fuck yes. Now, But here's another thing. I just started thinking about this now, and the idea, I enjoy it. Imagine it has now taken over the entire galaxy, right? And it sends out several ships out into the wider universe to maybe see if there's something worth there, because the more it spreads itself out, the higher chances for survival, okay? But what about the pieces that remains in the galaxy? Here's the thing. This thing would only get smarter for everything it devoured, and the longer it existed, it would learn even more. Now imagine some of the ingenuity would just make it think, there's only me here. What to do? Suddenly, it would start developing itself into its own ecosystem, own existence. You would have imagine a world divided like the Earth with ecosystems, but everything is just thing mass. This tapestry of evolved flesh that is all the same ground root from the same basis, but it has different forms, shapes, personalities. Just
so it builds its own ecosystem out of little thing frogs eating little thing bugs that then get eaten by little thing birds that eat little thing cats and stuff. So effectively replicating. So who's to say that we are not in a post-thing universe already, Trim?
Yes, exactly. It is gone for so long. It hasn't forgotten what it is. It just enjoys the game too much.
That is a really interesting body horror concept right there, is that all of humanity is actually part of one organism, and that we have this kind of reminds me of a Clive Barker story, but that we have all of a sudden one day humanity receives that instinctual call to revert, and we all just turn back into the same, everybody starts forming back. Oh, that's crazy.
Okay,
sorry, no. So what I'm thinking is, if we're already in a post-thing universe, right? Everybody's already things right now, and we don't know. But at any point, you would get that call, that genetic call to action, and there's nothing you could do about it. And then all of a sudden, say aliens start invading, right? An alien ship lands and the thing has to protect itself, and then all of a sudden all these people who were thought they were just a normal civilization people start reverting into these horrors.
I'm thinking
to attack these aliens.
In a way, the extragalactic aliens come to just kill us, and in a moment everyone refers to what they are, just kills them, and then reverts back as if nothing happened.
Yeah.
What was that? I don't know.
But imagine that on the, think of that as a society, but imagine that on the individual level, where you're just out walking your dog, and then, or you step outside to, go hunt for food or whatever you have to do, and then all of a sudden your neighbors start turning into some crazy fucking Cronenberg body horror, and then runs off screaming to attack the aliens, right? And you're like, oh, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden you're doing it and you don't know.
And then it puts on.
That's what I'm
after
saying.
Having killed the aliens, it just pulls it back, and everybody has it. It's oh, I had the weirdest thing. Yeah, you do, huh? That's strange.
Yeah. No shit. Everybody just all looks
Solid.
All right, we're cool now, right?
Okay,
let's just forget that happened. We'll just pretend we're just moving on.
The game must continue.
All right, sorry. I got work to do now. Sorry, we're gonna run out of electricity unless people start going to work. So get back to it, boys.
Jeffrey, were you Jeffrey? Were I Jeffrey?
Look what you've become.
Right.
A monster.
Oh Lord. Oh God, I love it. It's
what you were going to say, you high-bound old fool.
Fucked. Humanity's dead, but
that has renewed
it's kind of a.
All that matters is that I have cheated death like a
But
true
it's
son
so-
of Mortarion.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, it is. It's fast. Well, I mean,
Terror's name,
because
why
there's
did
so
you
many
give yourself to
possibilities.
this abomination?
So it's really easy
It is
to
the future.
get lost, wander down the rabbit hole with it.
I am what the Death Guard
Because,
is to
you know,
become. What
so much
Volgar
bullshit could
is
happen.
men are already.
Or so much wacky, awful shit
Living
could happen.
avatars of decay,
You never know.
waiting to reap the
Oh, boy,
darkness.
that's just.
I should have let you
You wouldn't
perish.
even know. That's
But
the
you did
worst,
not.
that's the worst part of it.
Poor Decius,
It
trapped
reminds
at
me
the
of
edge of
something
mortality,
though. It,
racked
like
with such
people
pain
walk
it would
around,
grind
then
down a
they
mountain.
change, and they don't even know
could have
what happened.
released
And it's
him,
like, oh shit,
Garo.
oh, okay, hey,
You
well,
let him live in
Whoa, that was
agony,
weird.
back to my
tortured
good,
with
good
every
felt
passing
shit. Like, you
moment of
become
our
NPCs,
because of
dude.
your ludicrous belief.
Well,
that
I mean,
you
that's
would be
effectively
saved
what
by
they
your
what you are at
master.
that point,
Yes.
He begged you,
right? Like, what are
begged
you?
to end
You're
him,
not
but you did
making
not listen. He
like the
prayed to
decisions
your
you're
precious
making are
golden
not
emperor
necessarily
for
made for your
deliverance,
own
but
self-interest.
again he was ignored,
Excuse me, sorry,
forsaken,
not necessarily made for your own self-interest, but for
Oh,
the interest
you
of the
should have
collective.
survived.
Even though if they
If you
feel
had
like
held
that's
on,
your own
If
self-interest,
you
like,
could
oh,
give your spirits in the
well,
God
actually, I
Emperor's
have absolutely
service.
no choice but to do what's best for the whole.
Yeah, and
And even if I'm doing something that doesn't seem like it's best for the whole, it actually is what's best for the whole because I wouldn't be doing it otherwise.
yeah, it's just
Because I
all
have
part
no
of this,
choice to do otherwise.
all part of
Yeah.
this entertainment
That
for
is
itself. Like,
God,
okay, I
not
can't
your
be
hollow
perfectly
golden
sick myself,
idol.
or I can have
Blasphemy.
some
You
pieces of
are a
myself develop
blasphemy,
differences
and I will not suffer
that
you
would
to
go
live.
against the rest, but
Your
not in a way
heresy,
that would cause
that of
any
Grogor,
sabotage. Because
Mortarion, Horus
mean,
himself will
the
be
only
crushed.
way anything develops in life
The
is
Death
through
God
conflict.
already
So,
dead.
and since it's the
It is
only thing
ordained.
alive, it would just have to start conflicts with itself.
cannot
That
kill
way,
decay.
it would never ever lose.
Corruption comes to
Yeah.
all things.
Yeah,
Men
that's fair.
die,
That's fair.
The stars burn
I had a discussion with some
Be
friends yesterday
silent.
about how
You
the
think you can
crux
stop
of all
me?
development
I
is
carry the Lord of
conflict. And
Decay's
even if we
mark.
develop and
I
evolve
was
into
right,
kind of highly
Garo.
evolved
I see
creatures,
the
like,
future.
you know, post-scarcity
In
society,
10,000
we would
years,
still
the
have
galaxy
conflicts.
will
I mean,
bear.
Oh
we
yeah.
don't develop unless we have conflicts. And I don't mean just because of war, though war is the way that we evolve the most. It
Right.
is, however, would be a necessity for conflict to develop anything. Rivalries, dislike
Right.
someone, spite. Just some people don't do shit unless it is for spite.
Well, that's kind of the backdrop of the Dune universe right there.
Yep.
Is that, and then that Leto's piece in, after Leto the second becomes God Emperor, you know, he saw the golden path, like humans were going to be falling into stagnation. Right. And the only way to fight against that stagnation was to kind of force them into changing.
Yeah, and it's not
Had to
just
put them under so much pressure that humans were forced to evolve, not just culturally, but like actually physically evolve into different
not just stagnation.
types
though,
of humans.
Not just stagnation, but there was another closer threat, existential threat, and not just. You know the machines, the thinking machines.
Well, that was one of the so that was the thinking machine thing came.
No, I'm not talking about the ones that. Again, I'm talking
Not
about the
the shitty
machines that were
Brian
made by
Herbert
the
ones.
Ixians, the ones that were actually a threat, the ones that had the. Fuck, what's he? You know his? I think his. Goddamn, you know when he wandered through the desert with that Atreides girl, whom essentially was trying to lead a rebellion against him.
Yeah.
She had a special gene that made her invisible to
Right.
prescience.
The prescience. Yeah,
Yes.
that was the point.
And
That was
he
part
was-
of what he was trying to do.
Yeah, and he was basically just making sure that she would survive, breed, and give as many of the humanity that, because those machines would be created, because even if
Right.
you tried to hold the Ixians down, they would still develop machines. It's just what the Ixians do.
Yep.
But in the
Well, and on the sly, Leto was letting them develop more stuff than they were supposed to.
yes,
That was the thing, and he knew that also because it was obviously he'd seen what he'd seen. It was prescient vision. That's how he knew the path to take humanity. It was kind of like when in Infinity War, the Avengers Infinity War, when Doc Strange looks through all the different futures, and it's like, okay, here's the way we do it: is we gotta let him win the first round.
what do you think?
You know.
What do you think? Where do you think they fucking ripped the movie from?
Yeah. You know, I mean, yeah, kind of the. Well, I mean, that's kind of a really basic idea of fortune telling.
Yeah.
Is being able to tell the right future that you need. So I can't say that either one of them really originated the concept.
Well, Herbert did it better.
But Herbert did it better. Well, of course Herbert did it better because there's nothing that modern Hollywood could do that isn't just a trite mirror of something better somebody else has already done.
Yeah.
But regardless, yeah, they bred prescience out of to make humanity free from prescience,
Yeah.
free from kind of the oppression of a vision. Anybody with the vision that can chase them and find out where they are.
Yeah, and those machines were able to hunt everyone through prescience. They would know where everyone was and kill them. Like,
Well, yeah, they would
the
be able.
reason
Yeah,
why
they would be able
Leto
to take
found out-
advantage of it.
the
Yep.
reason why Leto saw them is because he could see through the eyes of those that come after him, and he could see them hunkering down, just afraid and awaiting the end as the machine stepped ever closer.
Well, and it would have really just been a repeat of history,
Yes.
because that was kind of that was the whole premise of the Butlerian Jihad.
Oh no,
right?
the Butlerian Jihad
you
didn't
can't
have
make
sentient machines. The machines
No,
there
no.
were essentially controlled by a retarded elite.
Well, they were. It was people gave up their humanity to machines, or gave up their will to make choices and stuff to machines, and so then other people with more powerful machines came along and basically took over their free will.
Yep.
Humans were controlled by other humans with more powerful machines.
Yep.
Because once they started getting lazy,
Silicon Valley,
know.
much.
and that's kind of, I mean, of course, that's the real stagnation. It goes back to stagnation, because if humanity doesn't struggle to survive, then, or if an organism doesn't struggle to survive, then they stagnate, and stagnation is eventual death.
Yes, and that's what I think, that if the thing ever
So-
took over the galaxy, it would start developing these constructs to just simulate conflict to keep itself growing,
Yeah.
because it wouldn't go into some kind of hibernation when it has developed so much further, absorbing things, learning, understanding.
Maybe,
I don't
you know, I mean, because realistically, once it's got everything that it needs, then it could just go into hibernation. You know, it doesn't necessarily need to keep growing. At one point, it could just stop eating and be like, you know what, I'm taking a nap. And then when it goes to take a nap, after consuming everything in the galaxy, and then something else comes along and kickstarts the cycle again. You know, it
or
could be
maybe
something like
when
that.
it goes to sleep, that's when it starts developing life from itself again.
Oh, that's actually an interesting concept. I think that's actually a smarter way to think of it, is because when it's actually like absorbed everything, then the central organism is like, okay, hibernate. Because when you hibernate, the body processes still function,
Yep.
right? So we're the body processes of this like giant thing, the colony, the emergent intelligence of the colony function, or something like that.
Yeah.
So
We're
yeah.
the subconscious now, just free to do whatever. We are his
Mhm.
dreams, essentially.
Yeah. Until shit gets real again.
Until it wakes up. Holy shit, that's the setting of the Elder Scrolls. You know that, right? Everything in Elder Scrolls is just a dream of a superior god. The Daedra, everything.
Really?
Yeah, that, you know why the Dwemer...
I didn't know that.
You know why the dwarves...
I haven't played the really.
You
oh,
know
go
why the
ahead.
dwarves disappeared?
Uh-uh.
They woke up.
Really?
Yes, because when you become aware that you live in a god's dream, two things, one out of two things will happen. One, now I'm paraphrasing, I might be wrong,
Uh-huh.
but one out of two things will happen. One, you manage to not despair and keep your personality so well formed in your head that you will yourself essentially become real. You will wake up as a god beside the Elder Scrolls god, right? And
Mhm.
just do your own thing and fuck off. Or, as in most cases, you will realize what you are. In despair, you will lose cohesion about what you are, and you will just
Right.
cease to be. And the Dwemer, being so technological adept, they created a machine that were supposed to ascend them to godhood, which it technically did, but they couldn't hack it. So the realization killed them.
See now, and that's kind of like, at what point, if this thing organism takes over everything, right? At what point does it not just, I don't know, fall into despair itself? Fall into a, well, there's a lot of fiction about the indifference of God.
Yep.
Right? Like, it's not that God is malicious or benevolent, it's that God is indifferent and doesn't actually care, or God is too enamored. Like in Piers Anthony, one of his stories, the incarnation of immortality, in one of those books, like God is basically basically God has kind of abandoned creation, and the reason for it is because God all God does is look at themselves in the mirror, kind of in a narcissist type way. Like, God is so dazzled by their own radiance and their own beauty that they're so enamored by their own presence that they don't bother tending to the rest of creation.
Yeah, it just creates in order to just see what I can do. Oh, look, me.
Well, they don't even create anymore in that story per se, because creation has already been created and it goes on its own, right? It's like the process that started. It's just creation is the process and everything follows from it, just as a natural way of being, just as like the natural ebb and flow of things, right? Like, life develops, it grows, it evolves, etc.
Life
But the fact that, like, in that universe, the fact is that God should be, taking a more active role to prevent evil from prevailing, but God just doesn't care because God is so enamored with their own countenance.
Yeah, well, in a way, God is evil.
They can't be fucked to do anything.
Yeah,
so,
in a way, God is the evil because it just doesn't care.
Yeah, the absolute indifference to. It's the indifferent and neglectful parent.
Yep.
It's kind of that trope.
Which is kind of a hateful thing that is despicable. But yeah, it could be something like that, or there's so many ways you could do this. But I really like the latter one we came up with at the end there. So the mass itself just goes into a form of hibernating sleep, and through that sleep, the functions of each individual organism suddenly just starts going haywire. The big one just falls asleep because there's just no more need to be a focused, centralized thing, until something from outside gets attention. Everything in that area just bursts out in the usual way, and then it falls asleep and the process starts over.
Oh, I'm thinking about how that would go as like an animated sequence, right? So
it would be
so you have this like
show.
You have this giant, like, fleshy organism that has taken, like, this massive fleshy organism, right? And it just kind of like falls apart into the ocean and becomes a mass of cells, and then those cells eventually start becoming, because they're living organisms, they may not be sentient, but they're living organisms, and so they eventually start doing what cells do.
Yeah.
And then they become organisms.
Yeah, because they're perfect replicas of cells, and as the
Right.
main form, the main
Well, they have
mind,
the ability to evolve.
Yes, and it just keeps going. They're all still the thing, because again, the thing is basically the alpha omega, but they start diverging, changing, right?
Right.
And as long as they deal with other things, the main creature itself doesn't care. However, something different comes along, that's when it'll react. And within that small cluster, that local group, its attention is awoken for a little while. Everything just stops being what it was, becomes the thing again, and after it finishes and deals with the issue, it goes to sleep again and either restarts the process from scratch or continues from where it was.
Right. Yeah, no shit. So all of humanity has to come together and they form this one giant organism. All the living life on the planet becomes this one giant organism, and then basically the whole cycle of life has to start all over again.
Yes.
From cellular organisms on up.
Yeah,
It's like,
because
oh,
we're already the perfect thing. It's just that it can't stay focused for long enough because there's nothing to do, nothing to really grab its attention. So then
right.
we go back to the cycle again. Kind of a
That-
messed up. It's kind of a messed up version of Nirvana when you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. That is weird. Think about it that way.
Fucking
It was
hell,
like the
I'm
cycle
loving
of
this thing.
life is just the emergence of a, or is all based on emergent. It's just an emergent behavior
Yeah.
from a hive mind or a hive-like creature. Basically, humans are a giant cephalophore. You know, one of
Yeah.
those organisms that's made up of a bunch of organisms in the ocean.
Yep. And we're all
Humanity's
part of
just
the same thing.
effectively a
Something
giant
comes from
man of war.
outside, we just awaken collectively, and then we go right back to sleep, going back to what we was.
Right. Well, because realistically, like, as the dominant organism of the planet, then it wouldn't matter if you are an advanced human species or if you are a bunch of dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because you're the advanced organism you're the advanced species on the planet. Like, anything below you really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, in a way it matters to us, you know, if there's what the ants are under your feet, but you don't pay much attention to it.
Nope.
So
You don't care about each single cell of
Right.
skin, cell in each
Right.
single cell in your skin, which is essentially
Yeah,
what we would
that's
be.
true. Yeah, no shit. That's fair. Never cared about a single one, an individual blood cell in my life.
Exactly. You could try,
Yeah.
but you can't.
Yeah. That's even more. You could try. Like, you could try to care about one blood cell, but you just lack the ability. You just can't.
Yeah, you
Right?
think
Which I
you-
guess is
some
another
people-
good.
Some people
That's a-
could try and probably would delude themselves into believing they could, but you can't.
Right, you can't. Well, how could you possibly do it? Right, unless you had that blood cell on a fucking slide.
And then you had to take that blood cell out of you.
Like, there's no way that you could. Oh, holy crap! Sorry,
It's
getting the
okay, I
yawns.
woke you up fucking early for this.
There's no way that you could actually. Like, you could try to say, yeah, I care about this blood cell, whatever, but there's no way you could actually express that or do anything about it.
Exactly.
There's no way that you could do anything to show that you gave a fuck about that cell other than just living.
Yeah, and it couldn't. First of all,
Right.
You couldn't do it in a way for it to understand, and secondly, it can't
Yeah.
understand.
Yes. So it's a two-way thing, right? Like, and that's kind of that's a really good analogy for, like, the otherworldly horror, right?
Yeah.
Like, Cthulhu could try to care about you. He could try, but you wouldn't even understand the concept of him trying to do that.
Nope.
Because it's such an alien thing, and he wouldn't, and it just is such a.
I mean, just look at the people
Like,
part
yeah.
of its cult who are able to understand tiny, tiny, tiny messages from it. Like, dumbed down
Right.
messages. Some people are able to understand it, and they turn insane.
Right. Well, that's and that's an interesting thing, because that's the elder gods in Elden Ring, right? Like the two fingers.
Yep.
Like with the gold mask story, where that guy is, like, just reading his finger movements instead of he's reading just a slight bit of his movements
Yep.
and drawing so much meaning out of that.
Gold
It's kind of like
Mask
that.
is my favorite ending in Elden Ring. I know many
Yeah?
people simp for Rani, but fuck it, I don't like siding with the villain.
No, I was going for Frenzied Flame on my second playthrough.
I hate the Frenzied Flame.
I did just the regular basic bitch Elden Lord ending the first time. I thought about doing the Rune of Death, but I'm like, nah. I'll just do the regular one.
Yeah.
So then I've been chasing around. But
You know, the Dung Eater rune is actually perfect to me. The Dung Eater rune is preferred to like the Frenzied Flame ending because it's just such. I never liked the. It's very personal. When I do these games, I really just. It's a role playing game where I can push myself into it, so I just bring
right,
everything into it. The first round I always do with my own sets of
yeah,
morals within that world, right?
yeah,
I live myself into it. That's why I fucking get so tied up into it. And holy shit, this Frenzy Flame pisses me off. So I did a spite move on the Frenzy
uh-huh,
Flame. I had the game almost finished. I just needed to kill Radagon and claim the throne. But I
yeah,
said fuck that. Diverted time. I spent an extra fucking hour aside from 10 other tries to get down to the Frenzied Flame. I got to the
yeah,
Frenzied Flame, and I've already burned the Earth Tree, so Melina had already finished her thing, right?
yeah,
But I went down there, then I took the Frenzied Flame into my character, then
yeah.
I went to the Dragon the
Placidus axe,
Placidus Axe.
or
I think
yeah,
it's a Placidus Axe, and then I used the Michaelis.
the needle.
Yes. So
Yep.
essentially, I freed the Frenzied Flame only to fucking seal it inside as a spite move.
I did that on my first playthrough. I was gonna do Frenzied Flame, and then I'm like, I don't wanna play through in a burned world on the second
Yeah.
afterwards, but then after on my second playthrough, I was like, yeah, I kind of want to see what a burned world looks like.
Yeah. And even then,
But
it's just what. I
at,
like the lore behind it because the Frenzied Flame is essentially just. It is a
it's
piece.
the influence of another outer god.
It's every outer god there. They aren't outer. They're just outer, as in they're called outer gods because they're so outside, but they're actually
Right.
intrinsically connected to the world itself. The Greater Will was a creature that used to be one thing, all was one.
Hmm.
But the Frenzied Flame is every single god in Elden Ring, at least from as far as I can tell, every single god is an aspect of that greater whole, right? The mother of blood, the eternal bleeding wound that Mog
Hmm.
reveres. Then you have fucking the moons and their fucking shenaniganry.
Right. But I thought they were all separate beings,
Oh,
though.
they are just like everyone else is ever being, but they have the common denominator being born from this deity. They're essentially lesser forms of it. Now, the Frenzied Flame is essentially just the nihilism of what was. It kind of remembers what used to be in a what's it called? Gold eye view. Oh, everything was better before everything was
Oh, yeah.
sentient, right? And because of despair,
Well,
everything must burn.
it's the doomer.
It is the
That's what it
doomer.
is.
It
It's
is
the doomer ending.
It is the doomer.
It's like, fuck this. I'm just gonna burn it all. We're gonna burn it all.
But even then, as you can see, even if you choose the Frenzied Flame, it still has to work within the system created by the Greater Will. It needs a lord to burn everything. It needs to be at the Earth Tree to destroy the world. And even then,
Oh yeah.
it hasn't managed to melt everything by the Chaos Flames. It's the ground still exists, the sky still exists, the remains of the Earth Tree still exist, and someone is there at the end to kick your ass.
Yep.
Because your character still exists as actually it's not your character anymore. It is the representation of the Frenzied Flame. So it is just bound to fail. Its goal is impossible because you can't become what you used to be. Even if you burn down what you have, even if you burn down everything you have now, you will never become the baby you used to be.
Right. There's no going back.
And that is why the Frenzied Flame and its 3 fingers and everyone else who follow it are insane. Because they think they know the solution, but it's not a solution. You don't become that one greater massive whole. Like it is this is imagine God getting a split personality after the Big Bang, and one faction of it, one section of it, desires to become what it was before the Big Bang. But you can't return it, even if you burn it all. Which is why I don't like the Frenzy Flame, because it is incapable of going ahead. It is essentially stagnation to the point of obliteration.
Yes. Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's obliteration. And which is kind of the point of nihilism.
Yes.
Is that it's effectively obliteration.
And every nihilist is a retard. No, fucking functionally it is. Every dyed-in-the-wool nihilist is a fucking retard. Oh, everything doesn't matter. Okay, that means you don't have something to live for yet. Go out, touch some grass, and get a life.
Yeah. That's such a lazy way of looking at shit, too. Nothing matters. It's like, well, that's not true. You just think nothing matters, but a lot of shit matters.
Yeah.
And the simple fact is you got to find what matters to you.
Exactly. Here's the meaning of life. It's what you make of it.
And it's your life, right? Like, it's nobody else's life. You got to make it meaningful for you.
Yes, make it meaningful for you and find more people to make it meaningful with. This is why we have friends. This is why we have family, loved ones. Like, everyone I meet who has been like, oh, I prefer the Frenzy Flame, haha. They're these unbearable edgelords that think they're so goddamn smart and clever, and it's like, dude, what? I'm just gonna refer to, I think her name is Melina. You know, when you haven't burned the Earth Tree yet, right? And she talks to you, asks you before the last bonfire before you enter the room of the Frenzy Flame.
Yeah.
I know we're gone on a different tangent here, but I fucking love this part. She gives you she pleads to you not to take the flame into you, right?
Yeah.
And then she essentially tells you that yes, life sucks, but new life is made. New people are born. Doesn't their happiness, doesn't their existence mean anything to you? Who the fuck are you to decide that the children on the other side of the fucking planet don't mean anything?
Right.
So yes, the Frenzied Flame is the worst ending. It is it is not even the bad ending. I'd much rather have fucking Dung Eater's ending than
the Age of
the Age of Despair.
Age of Despair, that's what it is.
Yes. Because at least
I did I did the regular one. I was gonna do that. I was just gonna try that one on my second playthrough just for shits and giggles.
Oh yeah, sure. But you did it on your second playthrough, and it's just to see what it was.
Right. I haven't even got that far yet because I have to get through Farum Azula, and fuck that place. Farum Azula is the worst area in that whole goddamn game. I will run through the Lake of Rot 100 times before I want to go through Farum Azula one more time.
There are many things that are annoying, but I kind of like Farum Azula. I like the design of it. I
am terrified of heights.
Oh.
And so I get so much anxiety. Like, even the Halig tree isn't as bad as Farum Azula.
No.
Because the Halig tree at least is a tree, and you can see down it. You know, like if you look, you know, you can kind of see the tree going down, right?
You'll bounce when you hit the bottom, at least.
This floating fucking castle in the sky with this roiling fucking storm in the middle of it, right? And the design of the area is fucking amazing. It's so cool. But every time I have to run and make those jumps, I just get so much anxiety because I'm jumping over a void. Like anything where I have to jump over a void, it gets me.
I love the Halig tree, and I love Farum Azula. These again, it's the same reason why Cloud City is something I love in Star Wars. It's just the fantasticism of it all. You know what it was, the architecture, the creatures there, the dragon circulating around you. It is, it is such a good endgame area.
It is cool, and like the idea of the dragons having this living in this floating city.
Yeah, but
up in the sky is really cool.
There aren't even the dragons that used to live there. It is how do you say
Oh,
it?
they have another.
Imagine if we had a city made by Neanderthals. Imagine it's sort of like by
Right.
Halo logic, where Neanderthals existed, and when the Neanderthals existed, they were smarter than us and made civilizations before us, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then they died out and then you have humanity.
Right.
The dragon, the wyverns that you fight in the beginning, they are essentially not exactly devolved, but changed more.
Right.
They're less ethereal.
They're the debased
in a
form.
way. They're more affected by the world. I'd say they're not devolved per se, but they are in many ways lesser, but they have more potential than others.
Right. They're like
more-
shadows
yeah,
of their
they-
former selves.
Yeah, they're mortal versions of the immortal dragons.
Yeah.
And they fly around Farum Azula as
They're
never truly able to appreciate what was there, you know?
right. There's another giant dragon in the DLC.
I don't want it spoiled. I've been avoiding shit
Like-
like that, like
Yeah.
plague.
It's not one you have to fight. It's like another story. Kind of, you know how in Leondell there's a giant dragon.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
There's like one of those in the. Man, I saw. We're getting off track again. We're going to talk about Elden
we
Ring.
always do. We need to do an episode of Elden Ring, dude.
Yeah, we'll come back after we play the DLC a bit and talk about it. That'd be a good idea.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, again, well, I mean, and that's because the Elden Ring series, or the whole Dark Souls series, has kind of a Lovecraftian pitch to it in a way.
Oh yeah.
You know, in that they do deal with that eldritch horror, that
Dude,
otherworldly
There's
horror.
an entire
You know,
fucking boss race that are literal fucking starborn creatures.
oh right, yeah, yeah.
Estelle, and then you have the comet
Yeah.
bulls.
Well, and then there's the star beasts that you
Yes.
gotta fight.
Yep.
Those-
The star beasts are
annoying
actually
ass.
the larva version of the Estelles.
Yep, Estelles. Yep, the larval version
God,
of the
I
Estelles.
love them.
It's yeah. I hate fighting them, but they're fucking cool.
Oh yeah, they're
You know, that's the
ass.
thing is every enemy I hate fighting in that game, I love looking at.
Uh-huh.
They're like the design of the monsters and the characters in that game, and the the design in that game is just gorgeous.
It sort of has the same beauty as the thing.
And I don't think that we could get that kind of game out of the West right now. I don't think we have the talent per se, but I don't think that we would have the corporate. Well, no, I don't think that they would.
It will go to show. Just give me a second. You do
Oh,
know
okay.
Bezic and Bleach's most anticipated game?
What's
Kingdom
that?
Come Deliverance.
Oh yeah.
The first game was like Bleach and Bezic are as fucking sensitive to the wokery shit as I am. In some
Oh, yeah.
cases more so. And they are so fucking sure of this about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And
Yeah.
it is our chance to get the Western Dark Souls, you know?
Well, I hope that's it. You know, yeah, that sounds great. I hope that's it.
Yeah, and I'm not talking like, you gotta roll
I
and
think
shit.
that-
I'm not talking about, I'm talking about the
No,
essence of it all.
Right. Well, and I think the problem with most Western games is that they get fucked up by committee.
Yes.
Right? Like they don't have everything an artist does there has to be filtered through some jerk off HR person.
Yeah.
Right? Or some jerk off lawyer that's like, "Oh, who are we going to offend? Who are we going to hurt?" It's like, "No, I don't think they have those same sensibilities in Japan."
I mean, just look at Stellar Blade. The game itself is okay. The gameplay is okay, because they choose to just.
But that's
stick with the
Korean,
gun.
though.
Yeah, but still.
Yeah.
It's a mindset I'm after. I want that mindset.
Yeah, it's that Eastern mindset where they're like, "Nah, we're doing it." And you know, I wouldn't even say that's the Eastern mindset per se, because that's what John Carpenter did.
Yes.
You know, he did original things. He did groundbreaking special effects with compelling stories, like so much so that we are theorizing on what this monster could do. That it's like
Yeah. Yes, he.
That
Carpenter
we
created-
are actually that we could actually potentially be part of it already.
Yep.
That's a plausible theory. You know, like it's a really compelling monster, and it was a great story that he told, and he was not necessarily restrained by a bunch of fucking sensitivity readers and over the and nannies looking over his shoulder.
Yeah. He didn't
So-
have to go anywhere with entities other than what he himself wanted.
Right. Which I guess is really that's the the shame of the corporatization of our entertainment industry.
Yep. But that is why you never go to AAA studios anymore in the West.
Yeah.
Always
Yeah,
go
no.
for indies. And when you
Yep.
check the indies, check for SBI and similar infections.
Yep. Which I've
Yeah.
been looking at that list recently, and there's a few, or that website, the DEIdetected.com.
Cabrutus does
And,
good work, and I fucking
yeah.
respect him. Hats off to that man.
Yeah, there's like 5 different ones that they track on there.
Which is,
And
again, you should, every time you
those-
make a game purchase, you should consult that fucking site. Check it,
Right.
go through it. If it's a game you're looking forward to, like, my heart was broken when Space Marine 2 was there, because I was so hyped for that game.
Oh god, I know. I was wanting Space Marine 2 to be like
Oh.
Helldivers for 40K. It's like no,
No,
it's
we're
not.
getting that. They're trying
No.
to do the multiplayer thing. They will try. But because of what they have decided to make in it, it's an infection. I'm not buying infected goods.
Yep.
Oh,
I
sorry.
just hate that like I think we're gonna look back again at this period of time with the diversity consultants and all that shit in the future and be like, man, what a scam.
Yeah.
Like what a waste. How stupid were we to waste time on that nonsense?
Yeah, and already people are waking up to it. That's the best part. We
Yeah.
are, again, we're not guaranteed to win, but our chance is approaching. And when I say our, I mean people in general. I don't care about left,
Yep.
right, or anything in that thing. I'm talking about common fucking sense and the freedom to create what you want to create.
Right.
I want an age
Well,
of artists again. I want a new golden age for that.
Right.
And we can get it again. It is when we give up that we either get the fucking worldwide. It's the fucking Ronnies of the world making a bunch of people want the Dung Eater or Frenzied Flame ending when you should really just go for the Gold Mask and cut out all the other outside factions trying to fuck you over.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll take
The age
this
of
shit
the
when
age
we
of
talk
order.
about. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can talk about this when we do our an Elden Ring chat, because now I want to do
Right,
that.
yeah.
Holy shit!
We're getting
next
into
next
that,
time we
so-
should fucking cover the Elden Ring endings.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be down for that.
Oh yeah.
But I guess back on the topic of John Carpenter, it's like, yeah, it really
I'm
the
thinking,
thing
though, we
itself,
need
because of the
to-
amorphousness of the
Yeah.
amorphousness of it, it lends itself to a lot of really great speculation and good storytelling.
Indeed.
So
I mean, I'm pretty happy with how this one turns in, and it's just what I like.
Yeah.
It just lets me work because it
Yeah.
has its shape has no logical meaning. I can go wherever I want with this, and this is what I made.
and what's been great about this drawing and watching it happen was watching it kind of coax it out of the chaos. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like the because it started off as just kind of a dark shape, like it was a bunch of chopped lines, and then you use through the use of negative space, you went in and created all the definition, and that was really awesome.
Thank you, man.
So yeah,
Ugh,
well done.
Thank
Another
you.
really good piece, man.
thank you. It was a fucking pleasure having you on, dude. We
Yeah.
have been going. Oh boy, we've been going for 1 hour and 1 hour and 3/4 of an hour.
Yeah, it happens. We always go a long time.
Oh yeah. It's it's enjoyable. And it gives people more shit to listen to, because these conversations,
Yeah.
this is the kind of shit I'm all for here.
Yeah.
Get it from Prime.
Gives
get
Bezic
it
a lot
from
of shit to edit down.
Arden. Yeah, Bezic wants stuff to do. I think, yes, he told me so. That's what I'm gonna go with.
Right on.
How do I know?
Yeah.
I made it the fuck up.
That's cool. You did one with Primed. I like that guy. He's a cool guy.
Oh yeah,
So
we're gonna keep doing Vampire the Masquerade, and what another, just a quick little roundabout before we end it. One of my favorite vampire clans, essentially their progenitor vampire, is what we were talking about, the Thing, because he's called the Elder, or rather the Simizi, and his ability is what the Thing is able to do, flesh crafting. And he has just evolved to the point where he's just this giant mass that can just manifest teeth, eyes, claws, and of course he lives under New York City.
well, I mean, of course, where else would something like that live?
Yeah, exactly.
It's gotta be close to the rest of its evil amorphous blobs,
Now we know.
like those ones on the View. Oh, sorry.
It's
We're
okay.
gonna start getting into politics. We're not gonna do that.
I mean, it's so easy. It's so easy. I'm pretty sure that if Bleach would hear about this, he would go be a hunter, just like, New York
Yep.
has already. It's
Yep.
it's a shame. Not really meaning it, but yeah, let's see. Oh god, it's been so much fun. I am incredibly excited for doing more with this. If you had time on Sunday or some shit, we'll see what we can do. If not, I'm
Yeah.
really thankful for you hanging out with me so far as well.
Oh man, no, it's been great. Thanks for having me. It's been awesome.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. We should definitely try to do. We got so much to do. We should do another one of those. We got another. What? Collaboration stream thing idea. going
Yeah,
as
we
well.
got to do another collab. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well,
Hell yeah, man.
and with that, I will end our episode of Simply Sketchy. But before we do that, a quick little shill. If you would like to hire me or buy merch of me, links for my merch store and my Ko-Fi are down in the description below. If you want to actually just reach me more directly in another fashion, you can find me on my Twitter or on Discord through the Sultans of Shadowley Discord link, which probably will be down below as well. And now to Dave, if you have some shilling or information you want to give.
Yeah. Total Blackout Painting. Go to my YouTube channel. It's Total Blackout Painting. I also have an Etsy there, which is totalblackout.etsy.com, with some stuff on there, and I'll do custom pieces there too, and for a retardedly low price. My time is effectively meaningless or worthless. So if anybody wants something, it's super cheap to get it from me.
You make some really
but,
good fucking shit, so that's, you gotta be honest. Fucking hell, you do planets and solar systems like a god.
Thanks, man. I also, if you go to my channel page, there's a link for my Discord on there if you'd like to join, and link to my Etsy, and yeah, that's my shilling.
Awesome, thank you,
So-
and also thank you to everyone who's been watching, and also thank you to Besek, who's been editing, and Robert Renato for letting us use your music. And with that, I'm bringing it to a close. Goodbye, everyone.
Peace.
See you later.